Hi friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and as you saw in the thumbnail, we've got the HARNDS Wind. I've been a HARNDS fan for over, well, 5 years, I think it is now. When I first got their Blazer, which was it's a big folder, 9CR18 MOV stainless steel, which is, a good stainless steel for budget knives. And it's a beast of a knife. And it comes several ways, and you can still actually get it. If you're interested in that review, I'll put a link to it down below. And I'm really liking HARNDS knives. This is the smallest HARNDS knife that I've got. This is the Wind, and it comes in 4 different colors. G10, you've got this natural G10, and then you've got yellow, blue, and black. And they're bright, a bright blue and a bright yellow. It's a flipper. It's a thin knife. It's a light knife. It's just big enough for my hands are, I just had to buy new winter gloves again. I had to get extra large. So North American sizes, my hands are just within that extra large range. I can fit into large gloves, but they just feel too tight and restrictive. So that's roughly my hand size. So if your hands are, around that size or smaller, 9 or 10 in the European men's glove sizes, this thing is going to fit you no problem. If your hands are smaller, even better. This is not super uncomfortable for extended use. I did a bunch of testing with this, as I do with all of my knives, and it performed very well. A big thanks to the 14C28N stainless steel by Sandvik, and they did a good job with just about everything about this knife. And in just a minute, we'll get to the tabletop, but first, the one video advertisement that I allow per videos is coming up first, and then we'll be at the tabletop. Stick around. So here she is. I don't think I've been paying good enough attention. It's actually hard to take pictures of this natural G10. So some of the still pictures, they don't look quite as good as a lot of mine usually do. Simply because it's really hard to take a picture of something that's translucent like this. First, the size comparison. Here's the Ontario Rat one that I always compare and line up those pivot pins. It's definitely a smaller knife in every way imaginable. The only way that it's not a lot thinner or not a lot different is the blade thickness. It is a tiny bit less, but not much at all. Everything else, definitely, it's a smaller knife. Let's show you how well the grips are. Here's a reverse grip. You can see just a little bit of the knife handle sticks out with the way I grip it. So that's good, very comfortable. If you need to pierce something, you've got a lot of security because your thumb can get over the end and hold it really well. Regular fist grip when you're pushing really hard to do a lot of cutting. Yeah, you can't do that very long if your hands are the size of mine. This little small grip, you can't do a lot of hard grip with it. This is probably a little bit more like a budget gentleman's folder in that kind of category of a knife. Very usable. The cutting edge is very friendly. You got a nice long slope here. Great tip for piercing. The full thickness of the blade goes up to where my fingernail is, but essentially it's very close to the full thickness, right up to where my fingernail is there. And then the last bit comes down here. So it's a very strong blade for its size. I'm going to call it a full flat grind, although technically it's not a full flat grind. It's a saber because there's a flat edge up here. And now I got to go see what my doggy wants. So please hold. Get yourself a sandwich or something if you're quick, because I'll be right back. I don't know what it is with my dog, but he tends to stay quiet until I make videos, and then he starts barking. Or, if we're in the living room together, if anything moves outside the living room window, he starts barking too. He's very lucky. The living room window goes almost down to the floor, so he can look out the window anytime he wants. Back to the knife here. I was talking about the blade, 14C28N. I'm calling it a full flat grind. You'd have a little bit of a flat section up here, just enough to make it easy to clamp onto a system to sharpen it. Of course, I clamped it onto my system to measure the grind angles, and the grind angles are done quite well, and it's quite sharp from the factory, which is why it performed quite well. And of course, it's not as sharp now, because I've done a lot of testing. So now I can just, play with it quite a bit. I need to sharpen it again, but 14C28N, it performed very well, as good as 14C28N has for me on other knives, so that's good. The sharpener's choil is just barely big enough. It ends just as the plunge ends. One of the tiniest complaints I have on this knife is, I don't know if you can see it if I move this back and forth. I'll bring it up nice and close here. I couldn't get this on the still pictures very well. You can see just a tiny reflection where my fingernail is right there. So when they sharpened it, whoever sharpened it went along a little too far and got a tiny little nick out of that there. Talk about a major flaw. So that's done well. You've got a raised section here with jimping for a thumb rest. And it does help. It gives good grip. You've got some more jimping on the back spacer, but it's a nice small back spacer. There's no skeletonizing on it. It doesn't really need it. It's a light knife, which means there's flat steel in there. Very easy to get in there to clean it because the back spacer is not that big. Yeah, not bad. We've got recessed liners, which I don't mind at all. I like recessed liners. I like exposed liners. Either way, I don't really mind it. So that's good. We've got a pocket clip that's right or left. So that's good. It's a deep pocket clip. It's got the button screws, and it looks pretty small this way. I thought this was always going to start hanging up on my pants pocket when I put this knife in and out of my pocket. But surprisingly, it didn't. Pocket clip is flat here, and it doesn't sort of curve down and come up. Instead, they folded it over and back, which is somewhat unique. That's nice. They put their name, though, on the pocket clip, HARNDS. It's not an in-your-face kind of way, so actually I don't mind it that much. What I don't like is the writing on the bevel. I don't like writing when it's on the main bevel of the blade. I'd rather have it on the flats, although there's not much flats here, but they could say HARNDS in much smaller font, logo and put it up on the flats there. That'd be nice. And then same thing on this side. The font on this side is kind of odd. I don't know what font that is, but it's hard to read it. The 14C28N isn't just simple and easy to read. I just wish they would have used a more simplified font and made it smaller on the flats there. The handle, back to some more stuff here that I didn't talk about. Jimping of the flipper and the lock bar release. That's quite nice. A little bit of jimping right there. Easy to get in there for your thumb, even though it's very small. I never once had it hang up and not, open for me the way I wanted it to or unlock. So that's quite good. The flipper tab, it's not press push button. It's not really light switch either. It works sort of, you push it on about a 45-degree angle and it comes out just fine because the detent is just awesome on this knife. If you try to just do a straight light switch method, your finger's going to come off, or you're not going to quite get it because it doesn't want to go that way. Sometimes you'll get it and sometimes you won't. And if you try to just push mostly straight down, it won't work either. So you do have to go back a little bit, but the jimping on it is very good. You get lots of good traction with your finger. Makes it come open very, very well. And like I just said, the detent is very, very good. Lock up. It's almost exactly how I like a brand new knife to lock up. The liner comes fully engages the tang of the blade without being over that way past the edge of the blade there. The screws here are recessed. They are button screws, but they are recessed. The pivot pin, it's got a nice anodized race or ring around it, not race, a ring around it. And there's the H for HARNDS for their logo. And on this side, you've got your T8 screw, Torx T8 screw. And the rest of the screws are T6s. And they're fairly well-made screws. There's not a lot of play with the screwdrivers, so that's good. And let's show you the inside of the knife right now. There you see, no skeletonizing like I said. You've got a captured stop pin in the blade, tiny little, looks like ceramic ball bearings in there. And yeah, nothing super inside, just well made, every little part. You see, there's not much to see there because, you know, there's no skeletonizing or anything, but I figured I'd show you anyways. The little things on this knife that I like, there's a chamfer along the spine of the blade here. So that just helps it feel a little bit nicer. Chamfer here on the flipper tab. Just so that there's no sharp edges there. The only sharp edge is the one that's supposed to be sharp. That's quite well done. It's very, very nice. Let's go over all the sizes and dimensions and all that stuff, and I'll put this tape measure on the corner of the screen while I'm talking about all those things. So what we've got is 64 grams, 2 1/4 ounces. That's it. The factory sharpness is 120 best, very good. 200 and less is considered very sharp. The cutting edge length is 7.49 centimeters, which is 2.944 of an inch. And the blade length tipped to the closest spot on the handle, 7.54 centimeters, which is 2.968 of an inch. So yes, it's an under 3-inch knife, which helps it fit a lot of categories or a lot of jurisdictions that have that limitation. The blade thickness is 3.1 millimeters. That's 1.22 of an inch. Just about an eighth. An eighth of an inch is 1.25. The blade depth, that's this measurement, and I measure an inch up from the choil, so it starts coming down right here after this raised section. That is 1.63 centimeters, 0.641 of an inch. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, 4 millimeters. No, 0.4 millimeters, which is 15.5 thousandths of an inch. That's one of the reasons why this is such an awesome knife. It's a great urban pocket knife. Just awesome. The grind angles on one side, 18.5 degrees, on the other side, 19.4 degrees. So just over 1 degree difference from side to side. Very good. 14C28N. I think I'd probably sharpen this thing to 18.5 per side. It's not for hard use, but for urban use, this thing's an awesome knife. You know, if you want to cut up your lunch, if you do that kind of thing, you can have it in, you know, the black so it doesn't stand out as much, or you can be flashy if you want, you know, the bright yellow or the blue, or you can buy this and dye it yourself. Do you want me to do a video on dyeing G10? Let me know. That's one of the reasons why I've ordered a couple knives that have the natural G10, so maybe I'll do that. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see a video on dyeing G10. Now for the handle length is 10.01 centimeters, 3.976 of an inch. The grip area in here, it's about 8.25 centimeters, about 3.25 inches. Adequate for most people. The handle thickness is 1.08 centimeters, which is 0.425 of an inch. The depth now, the handle depth, it's biggest along this section here, and that is 1.82 centimeters, 0.716 of an inch. And when the knife is closed, it's just a tiny bit more because of this raised section right here, and that is 1.89 centimeters, 0.744 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch, a little bit more if you count the flipper tab. Not bad at all. The total length of the knife when the blade is deployed is 17.75 centimeters, 6.99 inches. So we've got a 7-inch knife, 3.5-inch blade, and 4 inches on the handle. Very good fit. Good balance between the two, and good balance on the finger as well. It's right there. So it's not blade heavy or anything because your hand comes up to here. It's very agile, very comfortable, easy to use, and it works well. What's the price of this guy? Well, White Mountain Knives has this listed for $33.99 US. If you save 10% using my coupon code CCE, that makes it $30.59. Not bad. They don't have any in stock right now as I'm making this video, but on their listings for their knives, you can click on the Notify Me button, put in your email address, and you will get an email when they're in stock. As I was talking with one of my viewers just yesterday, he got a notification that a knife was in, and 2 hours later, they were sold out. So if you want a knife that's popular, if you get the notification, go get that knife pretty quick because it might sell out again. Amazon has this knife in stock right now. They've got all 4 colors. Their price is a little bit higher, $35.98. So it's basically $5.50 more than White Mountain knives with the discount. And if you just can't wait, go there. I've got a coupon. I've got a referral link down below for Amazon as well. And if you use Amazon, that does help out my channel. If you use White Mountain knives and use my coupon code, I don't get any money from that, but it shows the owner that I'm a viable partner because he sells knives to me at a discount. And this channel would not exist if I couldn't buy knives at a discount. At least not in the same format that it is now. I'd be reviewing, cheap, both in quality and price. I wouldn't be able to get knives like this that often. At least 75 to 80% of the knives I review come from White Mountain knives, and they've never been stopped at the border coming into Canada. So there's that. And other viewers have ordered from White Mountain knives from Canada, and they say their knives get through as well. So that's a very good thing. There's no guarantee that they always will, but with the price of knives being so much lower in the US, my Canadian friends, I save money. Even if they took a third of my knives away, I'd still save money simply by shopping in USA. My American friends, you guys, if you're not aware, you have it very, very well. You've got the lowest prices for most products in the world, including knives. And then almost everybody gives you free shipping. And you've got the best customer service, post-sale service in the world as well. You are very, very fortunate to live in the United States of America. As you already know, I'm sure, even though, there's not always everything wonderful there, there's a whole lot wonderful. Features on this knife, well, I like that they have a dyeable G10 version, or just natural. Some people might want to leave it just this sort of light jade color. Or they have these bright colors. HARNDS likes to do bright colors, so you've got that option as well. I think I might want to dye this purple. A deep choil here for its size. For the size of the knife, that's a deep choil. Good access. That jimping on there makes it easy to get in there. Very good detent. So there you can see that line right there. It's just a little bit thinner along there. Focus already and stop moving camera. So that just helps with the grip a little bit because it comes in a bit. It's just a very comfortable knife. Cons, that tiny little nick that they did from the factory on the blade, I'm really not upset about that at all, but I have to show reality and the way it is, so there you go. I don't really like the writing so dark and so big on the blade, especially on the bevel. It's not terrible, but I don't prefer it. And the only other con that I thought existed was those button screws, but watch this. I know my videos aren't always in the same order, and if you like my videos to always be in the same order, well, I'm sorry. It's just I do them in whatever order I feel comfortable doing them at that particular video. See that? It fits in there very well. Not much showing out of the pocket. It's a nice pocket clip. It works. It always goes down to the bottom, at least it has for me. So those button screws have not gotten in the way. And just that little hole there gives you enough grip to grab it, pull it out of the pocket. So do I recommend this knife? All day long I do. What do you think of it? Have you got one? If you don't, do you think you're going to get one? I think this thing makes a pretty good gift for somebody. Maybe their first knife, they don't really want a big EDC knife, somebody that might be a little bit knife shy. Give them something small that's very functional, easy for them to use, easy for them to get used to. Nothing that they have to work with to try to learn how to use it. If they can push a little bit to the side, they can learn how to use this knife safely. And I think it's a really good gift that way. Thanks to my Patreon supporters, the video of who's the winner for October will be coming out hopefully very soon. I am very busy right now. I promised my daughter to make her a bench for her kitchen. She's going to be delivering her fourth child in a week or so, just over a week, right around a week now. And so her household's getting fuller and fuller, and she doesn't want separate chairs for her kids on the one side of the table, but instead having a bench so she can fit three little ones where only two adult chairs would fit. And so I'm going to build her a bench. I was very much into woodworking for all my life, and I can't do it very much because of my chronic pain, but I'll be spending some time working on making a bench for them. So the videos will be a little bit slower, at least for the first half of November, but hopefully you can understand and be patient with me. And by the way, it's very, very close to 10,000 subscribers for my channel. So what should I do to celebrate? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.